Today we are tasting Hibiscus Mead.
And we have a special guest. You may have seen him before. This is Derica's dad, Terry. Say hello, Terry.
Yes, that's me.
I told him to be excited, so he's very excited. I didn't mean the whole time. I just meant like for the intro.
I'm quite happy to be here.
Oh man, he's just hamming it up now. All right, this is our Hibiscus Mead that we let sit for a little bit over a month. It was bottled on May 18th, and today is June 15th. So roughly a month since we bottled. We said we were going to let it sit for about a month.
Yep.
But it was actually started on April 13th. So this is like 2 months old now. Oh, uh-oh. I didn't degas properly. Let me pour Terry some.
So if you saw the previous video, then you already know. And if you haven't seen the previous video, the links are in the description below so you can follow along. But we decided rather than tasting this right as we bottled it, that we were going to let it wait, like Brian said, roughly a month. And that was because it was still very green in flavor. And we wanted to let it age out a little bit so we could have a more true taste as to what it tasted like.
But guess what we need to do?
The pour cam.
Okay, so now that we have glasses of mead, first, this is an absolutely beautiful color. I love the color.
And hibiscus is always a great color enhancer. It always gives us a great color, regardless
nice and clear, too.
of what we brew. So it could be hibiscus tea, it could be hibiscus mead, it could be hibiscus wine. It doesn't matter. It's going to give you a beautiful color.
8 weeks old, crystal clear.
Yes.
Crystal clear. That is beautiful. There's not a hint of haze or fog. Nope, that is just perfectly clear. I don't know how well you can see it, but it is. Just take my word for it.
It's clear.
When it's cloudy and foggy and hazy, we tell you. On to aroma. I don't know if I'm getting foot so much as just like a headiness.
It smells more wine-like than footy-like now.
Yeah. It's
like before it was that young, what we term foot scent, which is not nice. And now it's more like a wine. So it's now
cranberry. Very cranberry.
It does remind me.
Oh, I get a lot of cranberry.
The cranberry wine we made, or cranberry mead, or either one of those, really.
The tartness of it is coming through in the smell. What do you think, Terry?
It's a little tart, but it's gentle.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to do a short sip. Before you take your short sip is meant to acclimate you to the alcohol in the brew. This is 11.8%, so it's not super high, but it is enough that it might throw off your flavor profile a little bit. So we just take a quick sip, get it down. We should say short sip, but it's really a quick sip. You just don't let it linger in your mouth. You just drink it, get it down, and then we can give an impression on that. So everybody, go for it. Ooh. Now, we did not backsweeten this, correct?
We did not. And you can tell. At least I can tell with the short sip.
I did not write down the final gravity, but I don't remember it being high. I think it was 1.000. Like, this was dry. But I'll tell you what, it does have a little bit of a wateriness to it. Dry brews can do that sometimes, though. It's not overly viscous in the mouthfeel. However, it's not that mouth-puckering, really dry thing that I would have expected this to be.
No, it went down easy.
Yeah, it's actually quite nice.
And with the quick sip, I'm still getting those cranberry notes. I never really paired hibiscus with cranberry so closely, but it makes sense.
I totally get cranberry from this.
All right.
So time for a long sip.
Long sip.
Now, the long sip is when you put it in your mouth, let it linger in there for a few seconds. You get to taste all the flavors that it has, and then you swallow. That's a lot sweeter than I would have expected. I wouldn't say it's sweet, but it's not that, doesn't make you make faces because it's so dry.
Yeah, after the quick sip, I didn't. It wasn't as watery to me.
No, it's
This
definitely
time
not as watery.
I had there was a nice texture to it at the very front part.
Yeah, it's got it's not really creamy or viscous, but it does have a little bit more mouthfeel than it did in the short sip. I definitely am getting cranberry. I'm getting almost a citrusy note, just a touch of it, like lemon or even lime almost is really what I'm getting. And there's like a tanginess to it. It's not vinegar though, but it is a tanginess that's what's giving me a little bit more of a mouthfeel and a thickness or a richness in my mouth. But overall, like on the entrance, I get the fruity sweet. Then as it lingers, that tanginess starts to set in, and as I swallow, it's a fairly short finish. It's not overly long.
It's cleansing.
Yeah, it's crisp is what it is. And there's still a lingering sweetness though after it's gone. It's kind of interesting. What's your take on it, Terry?
It's easy to drink,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
gentle.
Yeah. And it's surprisingly, almost 12% alcohol. I don't taste alcohol. This doesn't taste like alcohol at all.
No,
It tastes like Kool-Aid.
Tastes like 5% maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the tang and the citrus aspects of it and the cranberry aspects of it kind of diminish any alcohol feeling you would get from it.
Yeah. I think this is going to age really well too. I think in a year, the one that we have is going to be amazingly good. I'm not getting any of those young notes anymore.
Nope. I'm glad we let this sit for a
It just
while.
needed a couple more weeks.
Yep.
And all those young fruity notes are gone. There's almost none. On the smell, I want to say I still detect it, but I think what I'm actually detecting is that tartness and dryness on the nose. Yeah, because I was getting grapefruit on this one, I think. And
I don't get grapefruit anymore.
Nope, that's actually quite nice.
The closest fruit I can compare it to is really cranberry.
Cranberry lemon.
But it's not, it's like cranberry lemon.
But not exactly.
No.
It's hard
It's
to say.
hibiscus.
Yeah, exactly. So, food pairings. What would you pair this with? Think back to your omnivore days.
My omnivore days. Well, even with that in mind, because it's so crisp and so fresh, I'm going more into a seasoned mode mentally. So I'm thinking summertime. And so that makes me want to pair it with like a salad or gazpacho or
Yeah, I could see that.
something.
Cheese and crackers and fruit.
Fruit plate,
This would
veggies and dip.
Be wonderful with that.
Something that you would also want when it's a hot day.
But then again, even like a lighter pasta dish.
Yeah.
Not the heavy red sauces or cream sauces, but like a lighter, something with oil or a broth-based dish. This would go really, really nice with. I would imagine just about any pork or chicken dish too that isn't heavily sauced. This would go well with. And the reason why I'm saying not heavy is because this is crisp. You would think it would cut the fat and things like that, but I don't think it's actually as good for that. I think this one works better with a lighter dish, so it's not competing because it is a lighter flavor. It's not low in flavor. Don't get me wrong, but it's lighter. It doesn't feel as heavy, so it's not going to be aggressive and push through.
You have a thought. I can sense it.
I would take this with nochi.
Gnocchi?
Oh, gnocchi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, nochi.
No, gnocchi.
What's gnocchi? I have no idea what gnocchi is.
That's the way we say it down south.
You are down south.
That's South California.
Yeah. I hate to say this, but they're saying it wrong. Anyway, cooking with this. Now that's a little bit more difficult. Although, honestly, as much as I wouldn't eat this with a red sauce, I would put this in a red sauce. I think it would actually complement a tomato sauce quite nicely.
Well, you would want to be careful with that because if you had an overly acidic tomato
if it's already
sauce,
too
I
acidic.
think this would push it even farther towards the acidic side.
But like a meat sauce or something that's already going to be a little sweet, I think this would be a nice cut through some of that.
Speaking of meat, the flavor profile makes me think it might actually work well as a marinade, like as a meat tenderizer.
Maybe.
It's kind of giving me some pineapple vibe. It's not. It doesn't taste like pineapple because it doesn't have the sweetness of pineapple. But that
Sure, you could use any meat or
citrus
beer for that matter as a marinade.
I'm thinking seafood.
seafood. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
pasta.
As far as an explore, like pour in a mug or glass and explore on its own, yeah, I would say this is definitely one of those. It's lighter. It's something I think I might prefer this with food, to be honest. But I could totally see just having a glass of this. And again, this is at room temperature. Every time I say that, somebody says, "Oh, well, what if you drank it cold?" It'll be cold.
It'll be
and
cold.
It'll probably turn off much of the flavors.
Right.
And we're not heating it up past room temperature to taste it either. No one ever drinks meads that way. And if you do, that's totally fine. I'm not judging you. But I never do that, so I'm not going to do that for a tasting.
Well, there's mulled wheat meads, and we've done that before.
Oh, that's
and
different.
that's definitely a seasonal
But
thing.
that's a whole different thing.
But you have to remember, people, we're in Florida, and
Yeah.
it's hot and humid and muggy and bleh.
Yeah.
So
we don't really, no.
that said, my mind wants this chilled.
I think chilled this would be better. I honestly do. I think this could benefit from it because some of the slight harshness of the being dry might go away. And that's why I'm hoping age helps it too. Chilled and aged might be amazing.
And that's one of the things that's kind of a Russian roulette with chilling beverages is you never really know what notes the chilling is going to turn off.
Exactly.
Because that's what chilling does. It does turn off some notes, and sometimes it's not the ones you expect it to turn off. So that does give me a bit of a pause, but I'll go into that. You need some more? Or you're just trying to see how...
I did not even think about it not being chilled.
Yeah, it's not chilled. It actually kind of almost gives the impression of being chilled, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was just stored at room temperature, which in our house is 79 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is not cold in any way. But it does... it feels maybe a degree or two colder than that. Just from where it was sitting.
I turned the AC down because we were filming. So.
Oh. Okay, so it's 77. Terry, any thoughts before we start giving scores here?
No, I'm just thinking about my number here.
Do you have a number, or do you require more?
No, I have a number.
Oh,
You have a number?
Yes.
I do not have a number, so I have to.
I think I need another small sip for a number.
Okay.
People have already started figuring me out. When they say when Brian goes back for another sip, it means this. Well, guess what? It doesn't always mean the same thing. It just means I forgot what it tastes like. Natural Blonde. I have a score.
All right. I think I'm ready.
1, 2, 3.
Six.
5.5.
8.5.
Jeez Louise. I am
Wow, we're
low
all over the
man
board.
on the totem pole.
I said 5.5.
Oh, you said 5.5. Okay, good.
What did you say?
I said 6.
And you said 8.5?
8.5.
Okay, I'm the low man. That means I got to go first. Okay, I said 5.5. Going off of our schedule of 1 means it's possibly toxic and you wouldn't serve it to your worst enemy. 10 being this is the shining example, the perfect example of this style of mead or wine or brew or whatever it is. 5 being this is good, I would drink it, might not be my first choice. I went with 5.5 because this is good, I would drink it, probably wouldn't be my first choice. What would I want different? This needs a little bit of sweetness. It just does. Now I'm hoping with a year of aging, it'll be amazing because I think it'll go up several points. But I do think even like 5 points or 8 points of sweetness would have improved this. And I was thinking that as we were doing the filming of the bottling, we said we're not going to, mostly because we're trying to go with more dry and train our palates. But in this case, I'm not quite there on this one yet. I think the hibiscus being tart and then the dryness, those two factors together made this just a little bit much. But don't get me wrong, 5.5, it's drinkable. I would enjoy this. No problem. I might actually have some with dinner tonight or something. You never know.
And for very much the same reasons as why I gave it the 6 as to what Brian gave it a 5.5 is because normally when we're tasting something, I am comparing it on its own merits. In this particular example, I'm actually comparing it to the memories I had of our Viking Blood clone, where
when we go off of that, this is a 2.
When we first made it, we took a tasting when it was just the hibiscus. So it was just this.
Mm-hmm.
But it was sweeter, and we were working on it more because we were trying to make a clone of Dan Spod's version. So there was more to be added to it. But that's what gave us the idea that, oh, we really need to make a hibiscus mead. So I have those memories. Now, granted, that was
at least a year and a half ago.
Yeah. So memory is a fickle thing, and you never really.
But
know
it definitely
what's going
was
on.
sweeter. So I think you're onto something there.
So
Same idea that I had.
I enjoyed this, and if you're watching how Dad and I in particularly were kept drinking, that's normally a good sign that, oh, we're still exploring it and we're enjoying it and we're not really thinking about it. And so I do enjoy it, but my mind never stopped with this. My mind was constantly going, oh, what if this was sparkling? What if this was sweeter? What if this was fruitier? What if we added this? What if we had that? So because
Sparkling and sweeter, this would be amazing.
I kept adding things to this rather than just enjoying and stopping at this, that pushed my number down to 6. But I obviously enjoyed it, so I had to keep it at least a 6.
Right. Terry, you gave it an 8.5. He likes this.
I like the fact that the flavors were there, but it was not overrun by the alcohol taste.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a refined brew here.
And that it tasted almost as if it was chilled already was a surprise to me to find out that
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
my brain said, oh, this is cool.
And that's interesting because you can sort of feel that sometimes certain brews, especially if there's mint involved or things like that. Sometimes citrus can do that.
Yeah.
Acids can make you think it's cooler or chilled, even when it's not. But something very interesting that you said was the carbonated and sweet thing. I think if this was carbonated and sweeter, like I said, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
But this bottle's probably not going to last long enough. We do still have a few more, and one of them, at least one, is going to sit for a year before we taste that one. I think that might actually be the answer, because aging will eliminate some of the things that make this a little bit harsher, some of those rougher notes. Adding sweetness covers them up. So it can accomplish much the same thing, but in different ways, okay? But if this was sweeter and we aged it, then it could be too sweet if the harshness goes away.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that double-edged sword. But people are always going to ask me, oh, how much more would you add? I don't know, because I didn't make it that way, okay? Had I meant for it to be sweeter, I could have made it sweeter, and I would have thought about it and decided at that point. But also, I want to point something out. I've been drinking a lot of hibiscus tea.
Yes.
Just straight hibiscus tea, no sweetener added to it. So I've grown to appreciate the taste of hibiscus, and that's another reason why I was able to give this a 5.5 with a lot of confidence, because the hibiscus is coming through, but the alcohol twinged it just a little bit, and it doesn't taste as sweet as hibiscus itself tastes to me now.
Okay, fair enough.
So it was a little bit off, and I think in this brew it did need just a touch of sweetness, and even with the aging, I think it'll still hold. I'm also starting to wonder if maybe some lemon rind or something in that would have improved it, given it just that little extra edge to bring back what I taste as true hibiscus. This tasted a little muted hibiscus to me. It wasn't exactly right.
Which is interesting to me because we had you try hibiscus tea recently, and you said it wasn't your favorite. Would you say this was better or less?
This is much better than the
Okay.
tea.
So
Yep.
see that.
So we're getting different experiences from the same brews, because I really like the tea, and this was less than to me. And Terry had the opposite experience.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. That's what's awesome about tasting. Just because we like or dislike something doesn't mean that you won't. There have been plenty of things that people suggest for brews that they love these flavor combinations, and I go, nope, not even going to touch that one because it's not something I like.
Like our admins, Paul and Adam, they are constantly making suggestions, and 99.9% of the time, their suggestions were just like, oh, we totally have to make that. But then every once in a while, they'll mention a licorice note, and Brian and I will both be like, nope, nope.
Anise and fennel, nope. Fennel seed is good, but only for Italian sausage.
Yeah.
Beyond that, not really a fan. Yeah, licorice, just, I don't know.
But it's all personal preference, so...
Oh, yeah. And everybody's going to be a little bit different. That's why we bring Terry in whenever he's here to do a couple of tastings. He gives a different point of view, because Derek and I tend to like most of the same things. You've probably noticed much of the time we tend to agree. But anyway, if you like this video, thanks for watching, and look up. There's another video up there. You might like that one too.